Hi, this is Venning. Recently, we did a Geeky Friends Discuss conversation with me, Alex McVeigh, and Dakota Reynolds, and we were discussing mostly the film The Exorcist, but a little bit also the book and the series. And you can watch this video, by the way, in any order. It doesn't matter. This is kind of an afterthought. I'm making it after the other videos because I was inspired mostly by some stuff that Dakota said to think a little bit more about part of the film. But you can watch this in any order. It really doesn't matter. So the part of the film I wanted to revisit are the sections where Kinderman is talking first to Karras and then to Dyer about movies that do not seem to be real movies. Like the stories are real, but I don't think those actors, and I can't find any instances outside of the mention in the Exorcist of actors ever playing those roles. It is Othello with supposedly Debbie Reynolds and Groucho Marx, and it's also Wuthering Heights that allegedly has Jackie Gleason and Lucille Ball. So those struck me as, this can't be real. They never played, those dramatic parts like that. I can't find any examples of those movies being real, so I think they're only being mentioned in The Exorcist, right? And so it's interesting to kind of think about how acting has, what the roles of acting are in this film. So we have, for instance, Chris McNeil. She's an actress, and she's playing a part in a movie where we see the protest scene, and she talks about it as kind of a Disney-fied Ho Chi Minh story, right? She's talking to Burt Dennings about the script. So this shows us that, it reminds us that an actor and a character, that they're different. They can have different motivations, different worldviews, different goals. And of course, that also reminds us that outside of this, um, character in the movie playing another character in a film, we have the actress herself, right? She's the person who is bringing forth, who is studied and is delivering the role of this character or characters, if you look at her character in the film as well. Then we have Karras, and he's kind of like an actor near the end. So Dakota was relating about how in the book he finds this just heartwarming and heartbreaking poem that Reagan's written to her mother years and years ago, and that as he goes back up the stairs with a newfound determination to save this girl, he is saying that poem over and over again like an actor practicing his lines. And then we have the demon itself, right, who is using Reagan's body to play various characters, right? At first, Captain Howdy, which he's not using Reagan's body actually to play Captain Howdy, he's using the Ouija board. But he's kind of using her, though, as the Ouija board operator. And then later on, when he comes fully into her body, right, he's playing, her and Burks after he dies and other people. So this is this big reminder in all these roles, that we have situations where characters and actors have very different motivations and goals and meanings. And we need to also consider that that's outside of the film. So for instance, the girl who's playing Reagan is playing Reagan, but also playing Reagan playing the demon, right? So we have all these different layers of roles, layers of different characters or characterizations. And we should also remember that the church itself and the demons that Pazuzu represents, are both forces or entities that have certain beliefs or worldviews that they try to push onto other people and try to force other people to act out those roles, right? And in doing so, kind of blur the lines between character and actor, in a sense, trying to force their beliefs, their characterization of the world and their beliefs onto another person whose character might at first be different. And we kind of see this happening like with cult members and things like that, where they eventually take on a different personality that's different, that's more obedient, that questions a lot less than their original selves might have done. And so, of course, in this way, really the church and the demon are very, very similar. Now, turning back to the movies that Kinderman mentions, these alleged movies, notice we have Othello and Wuthering Heights. So they're both stories that have strong elements of jealousy and possessiveness of others, which I think is important. And in both situations, we have comedians playing very dramatic roles. So it shows that the very nature, right, and the emotional context of what they normally do, comedy, is being embodied here in tragedies, right, and playing tragedies. And you also wonder, does this mean that the tragedy of the exorcism, that there's some larger, happier, better thing going on? And that's really hard to say. I mean, obviously, what the demon is doing to Reagan is horrible and brutal. Although it is said late in the film that she doesn't remember any of it, or she doesn't remember most of it. I can't remember if it's any or most or what. So we do kind of wonder the motivation. After all, the church has done some really, really awful things. The Crusades or the Inquisition or branches of the church that supported slavery or different things like that. They've done some awful things while saying this is what's best for people. This is what's good for people, even if there's an aspect of harm, which is again also what the demon is doing. So it kind of makes you wonder, like should we be correct in even assuming that this is tragic when maybe it's not, or that certain things are comedic when they're not? I mean, it mixes the two in ways that are still, to me, kind of unclear. And we also have to keep in mind when a character plays a role, that person is essentially, right, the character itself is not embodied. It never existed. And yet the actor takes on that character. The character takes over the actor's body as a vehicle, right? The actor's chief tool is their body, right? And that character takes over that body in the way that the demon takes over Reagan's body, right? And then there's an extra level, of course, in that there's an actress playing Reagan, playing the demon, right? So playing more than one character, and the demon itself plays characters as well because it needs that attention. Okay. Kinnaman also invites Karras and then later Dyer to watch these movies, these fantastical movies, in the sense that that the cast seem to be wrong, at the crest. And so crest could be like the crest of a wave, like the most intense part of a trope or a scene, or the most intense event in a series of events, like the exorcism itself could be seen. Also, the crest might be like just a sigil or a symbol that stands in for something else. And they both respond that they've already seen those movies, right? So that's interesting too. It seems to maybe suggest that they have some experience with identities not being correct or people playing other identities. Maybe the way that, a person plays the role of a priest or plays the role of a psychiatrist or something like that, because those are roles as well. So again, those were my extra thoughts about those comments from the movie The Exorcist, and you can get a lot more information about The Exorcist by looking at the other parts of this conversation. You don't have to watch any of them in order, but there is a playlist of them. And would you please like, comment, share, subscribe if you like in-depth analysis of movies, music, books, visual arts, and other arts, because that's what I do on this channel. Sometimes by myself, sometimes with friends, and I would really appreciate your help with that. So thank you so much, and everyone have a marvelous day.